Alright boys, so a bunch of people are talking about Classic Plus right now, but S-Fund actually went to Blizzard, and I want to see what he has to say about certain things for Classic Plus, based on, number one, he went to Blizzard, so he might have some insider information that there might be some leaks about here and there. Who knows, right? I mean, if he's under any NDA, I think he's been a content creator for so long now that he knows how to not say things, right? But he's making a bunch of Classic Plus content, which to me is a huge tell sign that he knows something, and Classic Plus might be right around the corner, because if they went to Blizzard and they were told, hey, Classic Plus, we're just starting to make it now, it's gonna come out in 2028. Guess what? These guys would not be hyping it up then, would they? They would do pretty much anything else, so when they start hyping it up, it probably means it's not too far away. Either way, let's check out this video right here. I'm just gonna play it from the start here, by the way. I did check out some of it. I did not see this much. I did skip ahead quite a bit, but yeah, I'm gonna play.
I was a Classic WoW private server streamer. I kind of grew to be like the most watched Classic WoW private server streamer over the course of like 7 months, right? I like just started streaming. I streamed on Elysium. What the Elysium private server was, it was a...
How crazy is that, by the way? Half of the content creators who went to Blizzard now for Classic Plus, and are maybe under NDA or something as well about Classic Plus, they basically got huge from streaming private server content. Insane.
A continuation of Nostalrius, right? Nostalrius got shut down. They open sourced what they had. Elysium comes in and says, hey, we'll take over and we'll do a new fresh based off of the Nostalrius code base. Now, the people that ran Elysium were the same people that eventually made Turtle WoW, which is now getting shut down again. There's actually a lot to be said. There was a lot of drama. The Elysium people were taking money under the table, and there was all kinds of weird drama was happening. Then another guy comes in. His name's White Kidney. White Kidney was like the people's champion. He was like staff on Elysium, or he was like a GM or something. He like hijacked the server, like copied it, then deleted it, and then made a new server called Lights Hope with not the people that were like stealing money. That was basically like, that was like the whole private server scene of like what happened in 2018. At the end of this, BlizzCon happened where they announced, or around that same time I should say, they announced Classic WoW. So Classic WoW got announced, and it was this thing that everybody's like, oh my gosh, Classic WoW is here, it's coming, yada, yada, yada. And then slowly like my channel goes from like random memer Ret Paladin, okay? This is one of my old streams. This is stream number 7 from
to still a random memer Ret Paladin. Let's go. 10 years later, random memer Ret Paladin. Let's go.
2018.
Is this the Classic Plus waiting room?
The Classic WoW waiting room. Yeah, dude, my stream title for every single day for like 2 years was the WoW Classic waiting room. S-Fan, what server will you be playing on for Classic? I want to play on Herod, but I don't know. We haven't decided yet. So anyway, that's an old meme. So yeah, this is like some of my first streams. I look like a tomato because I don't have good lighting, and the screen, dude, I don't have good lighting, and the screen is projecting the red from the fire onto my face. So I just look.
Dude, that is what's happening to me right now. That's why I hate playing Horde in the Classic WoW. It's just so many zones that have that red lighting effect, like the Durotar and the Barons, and so many zones like that for the Horde, right? Yeah. Just makes me look like a tomato all the time.
Like a tomato. So this is kind of how I got started. I was just like kind of Ret Paladin memer. I eventually became the leader of this guild that we were in. We're still in Sanctum. So we were raid 3 in Sanctum. Like this is our old raid group. Good stuff. Navani, man, this is crazy seeing some of these names, man. But yeah, I played a Ret Paladin, and I kind of got known on the server for just being this Ret Paladin tryhard. But like, it was like a meme, but I did try hard and it was fun. Here I am dead. But we actually didn't clear Ragnaros this night, I'm pretty sure. Because this is our first Rag attempts. I don't think we cleared Rag, but it was like me and Drakova, who's like a lifelong friend of mine. We would do like all kinds of like Paladin Theory Craft stuff, and we actually ran this channel together. Yeah, that's kind of what it was. So me and Drakova would do a bunch of Ret Paladin stuff. Then the Classic announcement happened, and then I kind of became like the Classic WoW guy. So that's kind of like where I come from. Eventually, I got banned. Okay, I got banned. I got DMCA'd for 3 months. I can give like a more in-depth story sometime, but I got banned, and then I was on Blizzard's shit list. There is everybody has a shit list. Okay, every person, every company, everybody. And for me, being a prominent private server content creator who ends up getting DMCA'd, I was on the shit list. But over the course of the next year, like I just started making other content. that was about Classic WoW without actually playing private servers or rather streaming it. I still played, right? I mean, I had to raid Nax, but I would play retail and I would do other stuff. I started getting into IRL. I started getting into variety. I started a podcast, Classic Cast, right? So that was something we started years ago. And it kind of got to the point from,
Oh, dude, the Classic Cast. Those were good times. I remember coming home from work and just watching Classic Cast to hype myself up for Classic, and also just like to this was in the era when I was starting to make Classic WoW guides myself as well. After having made some retail WoW gold making guides, I was like, you know what, Classic WoW is coming out, I haven't played Classic before, so let me just consume all the knowledge that I can, and then try to make some good guides for other people as well, plus teach myself some stuff at the same time. Like, many of the guides that I made, I both did research online and played and just taught myself things, because like you spend a bunch of time researching, so you learn a lot for yourself as well. So like my goal was just to go into Classic WoW with as much knowledge as I could, and also to share as much knowledge as possible as well. So many of those times, like when I was doing editing or rendering, I had a bad PC at that time, so usually I would render and watch something while rendering. Because like now, if I'm rendering on this PC, it takes 1 minute, sometimes less, to render a full video. Back then I had to render for 1 to 2 hours. So either I would I would finish editing and then start rendering and go to the gym, or I would watch something on my laptop while rendering, which usually ended up watching Classic Cast, because that was pretty much the perfect length for my rendering times.
I was being on the naughty list I got to start working with Blizzard directly before Classic came out. Now, here's the thing with how Blizzard works and how just things like this work. At the end of the day, if you ever get a chance as like a content creator to like as a streamer or whatever, to talk to developers, what you say is nothing more than words, right? Like it's just feedback. It's just you're just like a mouthpiece. And this is the way that I give feedback on most things. This is how I feel. This is what I think. This is how other people think. This is why they think that, and then this is what you should do. That's like anytime I get a chance to talk to devs, and at this point I've gotten a lot of opportunities to talk to devs over the years. There's like a lot of specific things that happen in Classic that, like for example, they were originally only going to have 4 patches for Classic WoW, and I told them, I was like, you're gonna kill the game. You don't have enough content. Like, content's not coming out fast enough if you have a patch every 6 months, right? If you're on a 2-year cycle of vanilla, every 6 months, and each patch is a raid tier, there's 11 patches in original vanilla. Other things were like some things with seal twisting. There was like some specific bug fixes and like animation stuff, like seal twisting. That was for Burning Crusade eventually, or like some items.
So if we have 4 patches in Classic WoW, what was those 4 patches going to be? With like phases, I mean. Was phase 1? Because phase 2 was basically the world PvP phase, wasn't it? Like just world PvP starting? Or something crazy, ranking maybe? Like ranking starting? Something crazy was happening at least, because a bunch of PvP started happening in phase 2. Like so much PvP. I played on Fire Mode back then as well, so like if Flight Masters being camped 24/7, it was horrible. Wasn't that like the entirety of phase 2? And then Blackwing Lair came in phase 3. So if we only had 4 phases, Blackwing Lair would have been phase 2. AQ would have been phase 3, so Set the G would come with AQ then, I guess, and phase 4 would be Nax. So like a raid tier every phase. Yeah, makes sense. I think in that case, like 6 phases is way better.
Not working, but like over the years, like I kind of had the opportunity to kind of like build that relationship, and they were like, oh, okay, SFan's actually not a piece of shit. And to be fair, not everybody from private servers was, right? But that was their impression. And I literally had someone at Blizzard tell me this. They were like, before you came around, like there was not a single person that anybody could hang their hat on in like the Classic like private server community internally, because just the impression of the private server people was so bad. I mean, it's not really a thing anymore. I mean, there's a lot of people that came from like myself, Guzu, Heo. I mean, there's a lot of people, Tips, like a lot of us came from like the private server community, right? Thanks for batching, SFan. No, I was actually one of the people that was against batching, and we talked about it in a Classic Cast, and like a lot of people really wanted batching. I wasn't hard against it, but this is what I told them about batching. There's gonna be some things that you're wrong about and some things that you're right about, and then they're gonna listen to whatever they're gonna listen to, right? One of them was batching that I still feel like I was right about this. On private servers, we had a 200 millisecond combat batch in actual vanilla, and nobody knew this because they actually wouldn't tell us things, they would just listen to us. And I said, here's what I'm worried about with batching. A lot of people say they want batching, and then there was a video that went out, and there was like a big community push for, yeah, we need spell batching, we need that. And I'm like, guys, I don't think people actually know what they're talking about. This is what I said to Blizzard.
Can somebody explain to me what the positive sides of spell batching actually is? I think the one thing I can see, which, like, if I really think about this, maybe it bridges the gap between people that have a really good internet and people that have medium good or just average or sometimes bad internet as well. Basically by adding a ping, maybe? Or is that something else than spell batching? I think that's spell batching, right? Not spell queuing, spell batching. Yeah.
At the time, but they were super pushing like no changes, and I was like not like a no changes person because I said no changes doesn't mean, like, I would meme no changes, right? And we joke about it, but like when it came down to brass tacks and actually talking about things, I was always like, hey, people say they want the authentic vanilla experience, but they don't really know what the authentic vanilla experience is. There's people that played 20 years ago and they don't remember everything. There's people that are playing on private servers that really, really enjoy it. And this was like the genesis of the big legacy server push came from the Nostalrius core, right? The whole Nostalrius storyline. And I'm like, this is what people want. You know how a lot of people now say like Classic Plus, they want Turtle WoW? I think Classic Plus kind of came before Turtle WoW, like the idea of vanilla but more. I mean, this is like a mythical beast that we've talked about since the end of Classic. Because it was around, I think it was around Burning Crusade time when we really started talking about it. Like, well, what if they didn't do Burning Crusade? What if they did something else? And then there's like the OSRS model and this and that or whatever. But yeah, I think that the Blizz-like sort of thought process, that's what they called it Blizz-like servers that went through each of the 11
Funny time, like, back then, if you said bliss-like to something, that was supposed to be a good thing. Meanwhile, now, if you call it bliss-like, I'm just like, so you mean there's gonna be a WoW token, and a level boost, and paid mounts, and player housing? I don't know. Bliss-like used to have, it meant something positive. Now, I feel like, I've seen this recently, right? There's like a couple of fresh private server launches who's trying to say, it's a Bliss-like server. And I'm just like, wait, is that supposed to be a good thing?
patches. No. So I told Blizzard, I was like, hey, 4 patches will actually kill the game. You can't do that. It needs to be probably 8, minimum 6. They ended up changing their mind and they ended up going with 6.
Oh yeah, speaking of the Blizzard shit list, by the way, I'm 100% there. Yeah. If I'm even like on their list at all, maybe they don't care. I'm a small-time content creator. Like, yes, you're watching the React channel now, which has been growing really rapidly, by the way, so thank you all so much. I also have the main one, which is 61,000 subs, but I still don't think, like, they don't care. Agrand has talked to me a couple of times, so they know who I am. At least a couple of them do, but I don't think they care. But if they do, I'm probably on their shit list, because I talk about them negatively a lot, but I mean, to be fair, they do a lot of stupid shit. And I'm just here saying, like, if you do something stupid, I tell you, this was stupid. And then if you put me on the shit list for saying that, I'm just calling out the obvious, you know?
In 7 patches, actually. They ended up going with 7 patches, I think, for vanilla, which is cool, right? Because you need to have like the content release spaced out properly. Now, kind of going back to the spell batching thing, my concern was the spell batching that people know about is the spell batching that people are doing on private servers, which was like 200 milliseconds, combat only. But vanilla's spell batching wasn't spell batching. It was a server tick, like 400 millisecond server tick batch type thing. Every time you talk to somebody, anytime you vendor something, any NPC, everything that you do is on a 400 millisecond batch, and it just made the game feel laggy and bad. So now people have a really bad impression of batching. And I think there's currently like a 10 millisecond batch in Classic. I still think that maybe there's a world where like 100 or 200 milliseconds would have worked if it was combat only. But that's what I was concerned about from the beginning. And unfortunately, like I actually was right about it. I was like, this ended up being bad. But anyway, this is like old like 2019 stories and stuff, right? That's kind of like my history, right? So leading up to Classic 2019, kind of everything we did with Classic WoW was super cool. But this is a video, dude, this is a video from 7 years ago. Let's see.
I am so excited to announce that WoW Classic is finally here. The game that we've all been waiting years for is finally coming, and tomorrow we're going to get our first real taste with the release of the WoW Classic beta. Now, this is going to be a closed beta, but anyone with a Battle.net account can apply to join the beta, which I'll explain in this video. My name is SFand, and we're going to be going over everything related to the release of the official Legacy
And welcome to Loot
from
Goblins.
the Classic beta to the actual release date, along with the world's first, never before seen, Classic WoW beta footage. So, here's exactly what you guys want to know. The Classic closed beta is announced for tomorrow, May 15th. During the beta,
This is so funny because like
full access to all the content in the game from level 1 to level 30. This includes full access to questing, world PvP, professions, dungeons, and much, much more. WoW Classic is confirmed to release on August 27th, 2019 of this year. There will be phased content release, which means that the content will be rolled out in 6 different patches instead of the entire game being accessible at once. And here's the best part: there is no extra cost to play
it was
WoW Classic.
Blizzard, like going to
It's
Blizzard this time was
included
nothing
with
like this,
any
by the way.
existing WoW subscription.
Yeah.
So, here's what we know so far. There's going to be some differences between original vanilla WoW and the new WoW Classic.
Make
Some of
Azeroth
the
great again.
absolute most important things that you should know about include the fact that the game is based off the
Anyway, we're not gonna go over all this, but yeah. Wait, what is the most replayed? What is the most replayed portion of this?
something with them trying to simulate spell batching. That's pretty nitty gritty, and that's the kind of stuff we get into.
Who is
on my
Blau?
streams. And whenever it comes to Classic WoW, right
There's
there, you
another
actually
guy
saw the
named
same kind of
Blau.
thing happen with Repentance. Like
Yo,
I clearly
why are these
Repentance the guy
flies here,
before his
man?
heal finished going off.
I'm complaining about the game being buggy or lagging or something. Dude, I repentance a guy, man. That's funny. Companies do stuff like that all the time where they'll bring people in. Now, the thing with Blizzard in 2019 was a little bit different. Bringing in like a focus group of people to just like ask them questions and pick their brain about like different concepts is like a different thing than something like what happened in 2019. Right, where in 2019 it was like, hey, like we're gonna give you a chance to record a video. It was actually like a bunch of retail streamers and Classic Cast. If Classic Plus was to come out, when do you think it would be, this year or next? So here's what I think. I think that they would do Wrath, because if you have Burning Crusade this year and then Wrath next year, I think Classic Plus would be such a big undertaking that it would probably be the year after that. Yeah, I personally.
Oh, what did he just say? No. I'm going back here, man.
Than something like what happened in 2019, right? Where in 2019 it was like, hey, like we're gonna give you a chance to record a video. It was actually like a bunch of retail streamers and Classic Cast. If Classic Plus was to come out, when do you think it would be, this year or next? So here's what I think. I think that they would do Wrath, because if you have Burning Crusade this year and then Wrath next year, I think Classic Plus would be such a big undertaking that it would probably be the year after that. Yeah,
So TBC this year, Wrath 2027, and Classic Plus 2028. Oh, no, bro. No, bro. No, bro. No, bro. Oh, and he's been to Blizzard. He is the inside man. And he's saying 2028. Oh, it's over, boys. Yeah, it's over. So, let me just... Which game do we play instead of WoW? Let's do some alt-tabbing here. Which game can I replace WoW with?
I personally don't like Wrath. I won't play Wrath. If they're still planning on doing Wrath, I think it would be next year. Because if Burning Crusade this year, Wrath next year. Unless they were to release both at the same time. Which, by the way, that's not crazy either. Blizz loves nothing more than to cannibalize their own audience. Like, they released Midnight like a month after Burning Crusade. And then it was like, if you were deep in Burning...
That right there is my take, by the way. I think Classic Plus comes out when there's like 4 months left of TBC. And then we get Wrath 4 months after Classic Plus. that way they're double dipping on both, because I think waiting until after Wrath to get Classic Plus is way too much waiting. It's way too much, especially when you think about the fact that they've already been working on Classic Plus now for a year. When BlizzCon comes here, they've been working for close to 1.5 years, and they already have assets from Season of Discovery. They already have the blueprint from Turtle WoW. They have so many things at their disposal that 2028 is going to be overcooked. It's going to be like a pizza that you left in the oven for 2.5 hours instead of 20 minutes. No. Please, dare everything, no.
Crusade, like it was hard to just play Midnight, you know? No one wants Wrath. No, I think a lot of people want Wrath, right? In the original timeline, Wrath was huge, but also like Wrath had the most people that quit the game as well. So it had the most players, but it also had the most people that quit the game. So the Wrath population, if you look at like the original, if you look at this, like this is the launch, vanilla, Burning Crusade is where you have all this growth, right? So Burning Crusade is here, Burning Crusade, and then this is Wrath right around here. And it goes up like 1 million, and then it comes back down, and then this is Cataclysm, I think. So like you have your growth, this is where your growth takes like the biggest hit before like, you know, this, right? This is crazy. Was this WoD? I think so many people came back for WoD thinking about Burning Crusade, but then they eventually stopped releasing subscriber numbers. Yeah, like even I came back for WoD, and I was done. You know, the WoD hype was crazy. Do you think Northrend should be in Classic Plus? It's a good question. Maybe eventually as like big patch content. My kind of vision of a Classic Plus is, what if vanilla never ended? Level 60 WoW, what if vanilla WoW never ended? And what does that mean? I'm talking about like horizontal progression at level 60. These are the things that I would want. You're there, you're in Azeroth, vanilla never ended, quote, and all the things and all the places in the map. What the okay, really? Me? Sir.
What are you doing,
you're gonna come at me? You don't know who you're messing with. You think I'm just AFK sitting here thumbing my nuts, brother?
Messing with the
I'm
wrong
the Red Bull,
paladin.
baby, and I still got it. Chat, you gotta drink the bull to become the bull, baby. That's how it works.
This is
so
better.
my general
better.
vision, my general idea for what a Classic Plus will be is vanilla forever. Okay, quote, what is vanilla forever? I think it's, if you go in there and you take the map of Azeroth, right? The whole reason I even logged in.
Oh, dude, I hope he's gonna be talking about his takes on which zones we might see. I recently made a video about this on my main channel as well, combining both the brand new zones we've seen in Turtle WoW and looking at the classic WoW map as well. It's probably like 4 days old now, I think, on the main channel, based on when this video should be scheduled for upload, like 3 or 4 days after. So I made a video on this topic as well. I want to see what he has to say.
To my era character is to take a look at this thing. So here is the map of Azeroth, original, right?
Yep.
This is the vanilla WoW map as of patch 1.12. You have some other things here, right? Like you have some islands floating out here. You have the Eastern Kingdoms. You have Kalimdor. A lot of these places you can't even click on them, right? They're inaccessible. You can't click on them. There's different areas of the map. For example, like there's like this mountain range here, and then wait, this is discovered? I thought you couldn't go here. Oh wait, no, I think we did go here for. I think we like. I don't know, I think this character is bugged because this character doesn't even say I ever got Grand Marshal, I'm pretty sure. Oh, it does say I have Grand Marshal, but it says my lifetime honorable kills is 32,000 and it was like 95,000. Yeah, but this character's bugged. Whenever they did this, like, this character's been like transferred like 3 times and like broke the character. So when you say, what if vanilla never ends and you know, you're at level 60 forever, what does that really mean? You need to have some kind of progression and some kind of content flow, like a stream of content that comes in that lasts a long enough time that is not ruined by power creep or by, I mean, power creep is probably the biggest one. When you're talking about design, power creep is probably the biggest thing that is a problem. When you're talking about just getting bored, there needs to be something that the player feels.
Like, Season of Discovery to me was a good, like, not really a good version of Classic Plus, but it was a good way for Blizzard to get a bunch of information, because I think for Season of Discovery, they wanted to throw everything at the wall and see how people reacted to certain things. Like, how did people react to the Melee Hunter in Season of Discovery? How did people react to rogue tanks, warlock tanks, mage healers? How did people react to the power spike, and also the level up raids, and just the amount of power your character got? And I think that the power creep in Seasonal Discovery was way too much. I mean, at level 25 in Phase 1, some classes did the same DPS as a level 60 version of their class in Classic WoW. It was ridiculous. And then at the end of Season of Discovery as well, some people did Wrath of the Lich King DPS numbers, so the power creep was way too much.
Like some kind of progression that the player feels to where they're still having fun playing it. There's a lot of different stuff to unpack in that statement, and I don't even know if I'm going to talk about it all at once today, but I'm going to try to. When I say what if vanilla never ended, when they made this game, and we've talked to people in the past, we've talked to some of the original devs, we've talked to Mark Kern, we've talked to Kevin Jordan, we've talked to John Statz, we've talked to Jeff Kaplan, we've talked to a lot of people that worked on this game in 2004, the vanilla version of this game. We've talked to Omar Gonzalez over the years. One of the things that has come up when we've talked to these people, there's a lot of things within this game that were like kind of planned or semi-planned or used as placeholders that never really got expanded upon, but they were a part of like the Warcraft universe, okay? For example, right here, you have the Eastern Plaguelands and you have a path that goes up here. This has been in the game, right? This is something that was in the game, but you don't see it until Burning Crusade comes out, and then you have the Ghostlands and Quel'The the Lost, like this whole area here for the High Elves and the Blood Elves, right? Now, this is kind of like a no-brainer, I think. I think having like High Elves is like, if you were to open this up and put the High Elves in Classic Plus, I think that would be sick. And I know that's something they did in Turtle WoW. I think that's a great idea. It's super easy. It's a layup. It's kind of like the easiest option is to give people High Elves. I think that they would join the Alliance. Now, what the problem with that is, now you have 2 elves on the Alliance and no elves on the Horde. The whole reason why the Horde got Blood Elves in original Burning Crusade is because, hey, we need to give the Horde a pretty race. They need a pretty race. That was literally what happened. That was a problem. I actually think.
Is that really what happened though? I mean, yes, I get that might be why they added a Blood Elf instead of High Elf, but Blood Elf lore-wise is a Horde race. High Elf is an Alliance race in the lore based on what happened. So if they're adding Blood Elves should always be on the Horde side. If they're adding High Elves, they should always be on the Alliance side. And I mean, they're basically the same. It is just the factions they are in. It's like dwarves. You have certain dwarf clans out there. The same thing can be said for High Elf and Blood Elf as well. Visually, there's almost no distinction. Almost or actually no distinction, but there's still, like, they can be on different factions, and it makes sense in the lore. I actually think the High Elf and the Blood Elf lore is some of the coolest lore in Warcraft, personally.
You shouldn't have Blood Elves in Classic Plus. I think Blood Elves, well, hold on. I have this.
But then again, I'm really into the Arthas lore and the Lich King lore, and they're kind of tied together in a way, so makes sense.
This whole idea in my head of like this freaking lore world scenario. I'm actually going to hold on to that. I'm going to explain that later. But I'm going to keep going on the trajectory here of talking about there's so many different places in the world of Warcraft you could expand on, right? Like there's this area here that I'm pretty sure is inaccessible. I know it's discovered on this map, but we might have like glitched there for a dueling tournament at some point, I'm pretty sure. But this is like an inaccessible area outside of the Tirisfal Glades starting area, the undead starting area. Maybe there's something that you can add there. I think you can go through a lot of these different places, these different like mountain ranges. You have this area behind Stormwind is like this big ass mountain range that goes into Dunmoreau and Coldridge Valley. What if you took this mountain range and you built something between Coldridge Valley and Stormwind? These are areas that you could have different zones that they build out. Old Ironforge, the Ironforge Airport, even things that are already in the game like Karazhan. Karazhan, this is Vanilla WoW. Karazhan is in Vanilla WoW. You can't access it, but you can see it. Karazhan is there. You have Karazhan crypts behind it that ended up not ever being anything until Saw they decided to make a dungeon out of it. That's whenever I say, like, what if you had vanilla forever? There's so much that you can add to this world, and a lot of it they did. This is not a new idea. They did this in Cataclysm. They went through and they were like, yeah, what if we build out the Twilight Highlands? What if we build out Mount Hyjal? Okay, you have Hyjal here. Again, you can't click on it. It's inaccessible technically. Look, I heard the guy stealth. Is he gonna gank me again? Even though you can like wall jump and you can glitch through something. If you go through Dark
I hope he tries.
Whisper Porge, if you go through Dark Whisper Gorge, there's a portal with a raid instance down here somewhere. There's a portal with a raid instance, and there's like construction signs and stuff on the other side of Hyjal. It's very interesting. So like they kind of like threw Easter eggs in the world for things they wanted to do, and they just kind of didn't do it. Ashara, this is an unfinished zone. Silithus, this is an unfinished zone. This was nothing until AQ40. So they had these areas in the game that they didn't expand on. I think you could expand on Ungoro Crater, maybe. Probably not. You probably couldn't really do Ungoro. I don't know. There's a lot there, right? Ungoro into the Thousand Needles. There's all these different areas. Maybe the Isle of Dread. Maybe you do something new in the Isle of Dread.
You know what? This is one of those only times I will ever say this and mean it, but I like I think it's either retail or Cataclysm, but it's basically retail, a version of Ungoro, possibly more than Classic. Or at least a combination between the two. Because in one of the versions of WoW, not exactly sure which expansion it's in, but we have another questing camp, which is located a little bit further south. So you have the questing camp where it is right now in Classic, and you have another questing camp further south. So it just splits the zone in two, and there's less traveling all the way from north, all the way around the zone and stuff. I like the way Ungoro is right now in Classic, but it was one of those expansions where I played and quested in Ungoro, and I was like, this is kind of cool. I do like these additions to the zone itself, and the new quests we have, and this new quest camp as well. Just added more content, and also made it more convenient. I know conveniences are bad, but a couple of conveniences here and there I'm all for. Adding some more quests and quest givers and NPCs, and quest camps as well.
The idea is you take the silhouette of this map, and you fill out all the parts of this map that were never filled out. Timbermaw Hold is another one, yes. So you can go to Ashara. Timbermaw Hold is right here. Timbermaw Hold could be a place. Maybe you do something in Dustwallow Marsh. Dustwallow Marsh kind of sucks, but like maybe you do some things to make these places a little bit better.
To be fair, Dustwallow Marsh, they don't have to do anything other than the TBC pre-patch. I mean, you could do what Turtle did, for example, as well, but I honestly feel like the TBC pre-patch already added a bunch of content to certain zones, especially as Alliance. I have never quested in Dustwallow as a Horde, by the way, so just take my opinion here from the Alliance side only, but as Alliance, Dustwallow sucks. But in the TBC pre-patch, I think it's an amazing zone, so all they have to do there, in my humble opinion, is copy and paste the TBC pre-patch. Don't need to do much more, and that zone is actually kind of good.
Dude, you could do a whole thing with Ashara, and you can bring Ashara Crater. Ashara Crater is a battleground that never actually released. They were gonna make another battleground called Ashara Crater, and they decided not to do it. They were like, oh, this thing's a shit show, and they like threw it in the trash. But what if you pulled it out of the trash and you blow the dust off, you wipe it up, you clean it up a little bit, spruce it up, and you make Ashara Crater. I think Ashara Crater, I think that would be so hype. Because, to be fair, they threw it in the trash because it sucked. Yes, they threw it in the trash because it's bad. I mean, you can go into Tanaris, the Caverns of Time that you go into in Burning Crusade. It's there in vanilla. You go to Oldham. Oldham, this is a big, when we talk about Cataclysm, Oldham gets expanded on in Cataclysm. Now, I don't know if you do the same thing that you did in Cataclysm with Oldham, but Oldham is like a massive, massive piece of lore with like the Titans and the Dwarves. And if you go to Uldaman in the Badlands, there's a whole quest chain that leads you to Oldham.
You know what? I like attunements in Classic. And I would also like to see attunements being expanded away from only raids or UBRS, for example, from the Keystones. What if completing the questline that's called the Potence of Uldum, which is the same one he's talking about right now. And when you do the Potence of Uldum, you also go down to Tanaris and you hand it in at the Giants area, where there is a door. And what if, when you complete the Potence of Uldum at the disc in Tanaris, in front of the door, you get a cutscene, and the door opens, and now the zone is open to you. And it's an endgame zone. So, like, you do the whole, you do the attunement while you're leveling, because this is a leveling questline, and you get access to the endgame zone. It also builds upon the whole idea that I feel like Classic WoW does for a long time. You work towards the endgame while you're leveling. Like, some of your pre-raid best in slot pieces, you get them while you're leveling, whether you're doing important quests for quest rewards or important dungeons in the level 50 plus bracket. You can get so many cool items while you're leveling, and you can do so many important things while you're leveling as well. The leveling journey is really important, and in this case, you could unlock an endgame zone while you're leveling. It also adds kind of some lore stuff to the zone as well, and you basically have to do that quest chain to unlock the zone. It might sound like a little bit of work and adding a barrier to entry to the endgame, but I don't care. I think it's cool. Having a zone that you have to do a quest to get access to in the first place, and it seems like it was meant to be there, because it's called the Potence of Uldum, and it seems to be this massive thing. But when you do the quest, you don't get anything massive, and you feel like you're chasing something, and you never get there. I mean, it gives you a lot of experience, so that's cool, but other than that, you get nothing.
And then it just kind of stops. Do a Stormwind raid, the portal is already there. So the portal in Stormwind is actually meant for housing. The original, that big portal with a gate, is meant to be WoW housing for the Alliance. If you go to this area right here in Stormwind in Vanilla WoW, there's a big gated area in Stormwind with a...
But the dungeon they're talking about is not that portal. If you look in the water between Cathedral Square and Old Town, there's like a prison in the water there, where a certain server that may or may not be a turtle has made a dungeon called Stormwind Prison or Stormwind Vault or something. It's basically like a prison of Stormwind, and that's another dungeon, and it's an endgame dungeon, because then you have Stockades, which is the left one, the one that is left of Trade District, or basically in the Mage Quarter or outside the Mage Quarter. You have Stormwind Stockades, and you have a similar building in the water as well, which could be another dungeon. I think that's the portal they're talking about. Because there as well, I believe there's a portal right now in Classic, or at least it's like, it's meant to be something there at least, and there's nothing.
Portal, and that was intended to be housing. It never came to fruition. There's so much content potentially that you can build out in this map of vanilla. Now again, they did a lot of that with like the Twilight Highlands right here. I'm trying to think of what else. Now this area behind Stratholme, what if Stratholme was like an outdoor zone? What if Stratholme was a raid? You know, if you go into Stratholme and you go to Baron and then you turn left, the zombies rush out before you kill Baron, and that gate closes. Behind that gate, if you go inside, there's another gate and there's a raid portal. What if they expanded the city of Stratholme? Now, eventually their Stratholme Undead Raid or whatever, it became Nax. You can't click on, let's see, Badlands, Burning Steppes, Red Ridge Mountains. Like, what is this? I'm pretty sure in the Cataclysm, they just deleted this chunk of land. What is this? What is this? This is another mountain range behind, like, look at how much room there is for them to add stuff. Now, is it too much? Maybe, I don't know, right? I'm kind of going over all the different places. I think you can add something in the Stone Talon Mountains, right? For the Alliance, there's not really a whole lot to do in Stone Talon. Maybe that's okay. Maybe you do something here in Desolace, I don't know. Desolace, Feralus, Mulgore. Maybe there's something there. Maybe something with the Isle of Dread. Dude, look at this massive chunk of the zone of Silithus. You see this? You come to Silithus and it just has a line. So the Silithus that we see, by the way, it ends here with AQ.
Yeah,
and
true.
you go into AQ and you go into the tunnel. right? So like AQ is just massive. That chunk is the raid. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's actually insane how big AQ actually is. I never noticed those places on the map you can't click. In Cataclysm, they actually addressed all this. But like, there's just so much that you can do, man. There's so much to be done. And I think that's just freaking cool. What are these islands? I think they add these islands. Isn't one of these like Kultiris? So look at this. Reddit user Rihanna Lord has posted a gigantic map of Azeroth in the Classic WoW subreddit. Should they add another race to Classic Plus? I mean, I think if they were to add another race, I think they should add High Elves and Ogres. Oh, this is kind of sick, actually.
Okay.
Look at this. This is somebody's drawing from like 7 years ago. Wait, this is so sick. Wait, this is so detailed. But look at this. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, between Stormwind and Coleridge, there's so many places, man. What are these? What are these islands?
There we go.
I think in Cataclysm.
In the Turtle server, they've made those islands into something, you know?
They add these. Oh, see, they don't have this stuff filled out, but this is like Ghostlands, all the Blood Elf stuff. Like, I think if they wanted to do that, if they wanted to add that, they could add this as like a whole High Elf area. Oh wait, Kultiris is like, I thought Kultiris was here because you have the Kultiran Marines in Durotar. I guess eventually it like changes, right? They put Kultiris here. Cataclysm happens and it changes everything because the big sundering happens, the Cataclysm happens. So whenever the Cataclysm happens, everything gets scrambled anyway. So these could be anything. Thank you guys so much for watching, putting up with me in my glasses, my nerd glasses. I got something going on in my eye. It's bothering me, but hey, thank you guys so much for watching. YouTube, Instagram, Discord, Twitch, everything is SFan TV. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to comment, like, whatever, subscribe, do all those things, turn on notifications. We do all kinds of different stuff here. I hope you guys like it, and we'll see you guys next time.
Alright, there we go, boys. I think that was like a stream clip, by the way, but still, really fun to look at. And once again, SFand has gone to Blizzard and probably talked to them about Classic Plus. We don't know what they talked about. Maybe they played, maybe there was like a beta of Classic Plus, in-house beta. Maybe there's a family and friends beta right now, who really knows? Maybe it's in the brainstorm stage. Maybe Classic Plus comes out this year, maybe next year, maybe in 2045. Who actually knows at this point? I mean, BlizzCon is in 4 months, even less than that now as well, so we are gonna find out very, very soon exactly what's happening and get maybe like we're either gonna get an actual release date for Classic Plus or at least a release date window so we know what to expect and when to expect it. So we're really close to finding stuff out, but until then it's fun to watch videos on the topic and also just to theorycraft. I really think it's fun to theorycraft and also chime in with opinions, because if Classic Plus is in the theory stage, I think opinions are important. The only question is, will Blizzard listen? And if they are, then who are they listening to? Like, I don't know. It feels like the only ways they've been asking for feedback so far is inviting streamers to Blizzard, the headquarters, and sending out some surveys. And the surveys were over like a year ago, right? So in the past year, it seems like they've been asking for barely any feedback. Either way, that's the video, so let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and that's it. Thank you for watching, I'll see you next time, probably tomorrow. Alright, bye.